In today's video, we're going to be looking at some of the worst mistakes that new video editors make when they start their video production journey. Now, I've been a video editor for almost 15 years now, and I've learned a lot over the years. So when I used to work at a production company, had to train up all the new video editors, and I've seen a lot of the mistakes that they made, which really irritated me and also the clients, and I'm going to share all of that in this video. Now, if you're visiting for the first time, my name is Duan. It's do unto others what you want to do unto yourself, and on this channel we talk all about video production. The first and most annoying mistake that new video editors make is leaving black frames in your video when you cut between shots. And this usually happens when video editors don't have their snapping turned on their timeline. So when video editors move the one clip next to the other clip, it looks like they are touching, but in fact they're not, and there are one or two black frames in between them. It's really difficult to see from the outset, and so when you playback or when you export your video, these black frames appear. So the way to fix that is to make sure that your snapping is always turned on, unless you need to turn it off for something specific you are doing in your project. The second big mistake that I see new video editors make is they edit on the wrong timeline. They don't choose the correct aspect ratio when they start their project, and so when the client eventually approves the draft, then they realize that, hey, instead of a 4K timeline, I've edited my whole project on an HD timeline. Now, this causes a lot of wasted time because now you have to upscale all the footage and elements, and if you do have adjustment layers, you also have to adjust those, and at the end of the day this wastes a lot of time. So always check that you edit on the right aspect ratio when you start your project. The third biggest mistake that I see new video editors make is editing with the wrong frame rate. Now, this might seem like something menial, but editing with the wrong frame rate causes your footage to look stuttery, and it also causes ghost frames on your timeline. So in order to make sure that your footage looks smooth, edit on the right frame rate. So whenever you start your project, make sure that the aspect ratio and frame rate is correct. The next one I cannot emphasize enough. Review your project over and over again before sending it to a client. The fourth biggest mistake that new video editors make is they don't review their project. They just do the fixes, export it, send it to the client, and when it lands by the client goes through it and spot other mistakes that the video editor should have picked up when they reviewed their project. Now, sometimes it looks differently on a computer screen than on a phone screen, and sometimes it looks differently on a phone screen than it would on a big screen. So it's important to review it on a phone screen, on a computer screen, and make sure that your project is spot on. What I do is I review my project after I've made all the changes. I'll do that twice, then I'll export the video, and then I'll review it again. And then if I upload it to Frame.io or Dropbox Replay, I will review it again to make sure that everything is in order. Usually when you review it after you've exported, you sometimes pick up a lot of things that you should have changed, and at the end of the day, when you send your project off to the client, that just makes you look more professional. The fifth biggest mistake that new video editors make is not knowing what your video editing program is capable of. And this will put a cap on you. This will limit you not to be able to do great things, and when your skill level doesn't match what your client requires, they will go to somebody else instead of using your services. So make sure that you know what your program is capable of. That way, when a client asks you to do things, and even if you're not able to do that, at least you know it's possible and you can just get a tutorial to figure it out. The sixth biggest mistake that new video editors make is mixing your project on earphones or headphones for that matter. This is a terrible idea. Even if you do mix it on your headphones, make sure that you review it on your computer or on proper speakers to make sure that it sounds right. Sometimes when you put earphones in, it sounds very different from a computer, and when your client listens to it, it sounds wrong. So make sure that you listen to it on both when you do mix it on your headphones. The next big thing is having a bad attitude. Now, first of all, having a bad attitude to learn new things, and having a bad attitude when clients want review after review. I know it's the most frustrating thing, but if you're going to have a bad attitude when clients just keep coming back with reviews, then you're going to set yourself up for failure. You're going to frustrate yourself, they're going to get frustrated with you, and you're going to end up losing the client. So in order to keep growing your clientele, make sure that your attitude is in check, and just make sure that you have healthy boundaries when it comes to reviews without that bad attitude. Number 8 is not color matching your footage. Now, sometimes you film at different times during the day, which means that your footage will have different temperatures or different white balances. And it's important to match it, especially if it's clips from the same scene. Otherwise, it will just look very unprofessional. And the last mistake that I want to talk about is not knowing your shortcuts. Shortcuts help you save a ton of time. And if you don't know the shortcuts, you are setting yourself up for failure, because other video editors will be able to do it in half the time that you can. And why would clients not want to save time? So guys, I hope that this video helps you. If you do have some other tips that you think that new video editors should know, please put it in the comments. I will reply to each one. See you in the next video. Cheers.